Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Oracolor Colors of the Week. This week we are in the second chapter of Devarim, Deuteronomy, and it is Parshat Va'et-Hanan, which is Moses pleading to God to let him enter the land of Israel. And this Torah portion includes one of the most important lines of Torah that most people who watch this will know. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, which is our prayer. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And this prayer or blessing that we recite was actually my beginning in the colors, because I was studying how to sing, chant Torah, and I took a colorized version, and I was able to see some really interesting changes when the tones or the notes were associated with words and the meaning. And so when colorized these notes, I was able to see how the color really speaks through the ideas. So Shema, for example, which means listen, is the first step of being able to love. We can't really love another until we open up our hearts and listen to that which they're sharing with us. And so the color of love is pink, and that's just one example of how I began this journey of seeing color in Torah. So it's pretty cool to be now at this parsha, but there was a line immediately after the Ve'achavta, the second portion, and it speaks about how this land that these people are going to be going into is going to be full of wonderful, great cities that they will have. And it was kind of painful as a reader to think that why is it, with all of God's power, that God didn't just give them an uninhabited land? So there's a lot of deep questions and thoughts. Why was Moses not allowed in? Why was it that the people had to conquer other people in the land? And I do have answers, but I think I better do the card reading, and then we can look at this more deeply together, see what the cards have to say. So I'm going to shuffle one more time. And break it into 3. Now we're going to climb the mountain. So I'm going to just kind of lay these cards out real quick. And the energy that we come into this week with is the capacity to notice, which chokhmah, wisdom, is something that Moses is really well associated with. I mean, he gave us the Torah. He has the wisdom. So here we are, still with Moses, hearing his words, and it makes sense that we enter this week with that wisdom that he helps us attain. The energy we need to bring into this week is, wow, that's really interesting. So a sense of peace. And what is peace? It's the fusion of all parts. It's the wholeness. It's the recognition that everything is actually okay. So there are some rabbinic scholars that say that Moses understood why he wasn't able to go in as the leader, and when Joshua was, to be trained and brought in as the leader, Moses still pled, can I please just go in and perform the mitzvah of being happy in the land of Israel? And, there are scholars that basically say Moses was just spiritually higher than we are. So it was not his journey. It's our journey to go into the land and conquer the land and conquer that physical realm so that we can enter into a more spiritual plane. So maybe right now it's like recognition of that which is whole within us is kind of our duty. But the learning that we can get from this week's Torah, I don't know, exhaustion. So Moses isn't allowed into the land. Gonna think about this one. How to actually take in the wisdom of what exhaustion is teaching us, which exhaustion is a lesson. It's a gift. It's telling us it's time to rest, to give it a rest. And actually, there is an immense amount of wisdom in this. Moses was done. Joshua was going to go in. He'd given everything that he needed to give. He gave all the wisdom that he could give. He needed to become at peace with the fact that everything that he had done for the people was done. He needed to be done doing. And the way that you are able to attain a recognition of when you're done doing is to commit to paying attention to the presence, to being present in your life. And that we do through a development of focus. So these are actually really interesting. Both of these are associated with Moses, Chokhmah and Bina, which is understanding. And so I think there's a message here, like, hey, you've done it. Take a break. Ultimately, the outcome of this time period is he gets to stay in the desert. I don't know. That's what I'm taking, but let's read the newsletter and you'll hear more.